live streaming on Facebook. We are live on this webinar. We've got people joining in. Welcome everyone. My name is Eleni Summershields. I am the Chief Operating Officer here at Wise Agent. I'm excited for this conversation with my friend here, Greg Hanner, who is the broker owner at Garden Realty. And before we jump in with Greg, a couple of housekeeping things. I would love to see, and I know Greg, you would love to see where everyone is coming from, right? What city, state. We've got Dan out of Reading, Pennsylvania, South Dakota and Michigan. I just got back from Salt Lake City, Utah yesterday, which I was freezing my tail off there. I've been in the wintry, I was in Chicago the week before, so I'm happy to be back home in Arizona where it's a little bit warmer. And Greg, do you want to tell everyone where you're located and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm located in Waterford, Connecticut. We actually had that phenomenal blizzard, so thought I'd make it through the winter without the snow blower, but
yeah,
it didn't happen. Just a little bit about me. I'm like the typical agent in terms of we're all independent contractors. I happen to own my brokerage. We're a boutique brokerage here in Waterford, and the interesting thing is that I've been doing this for a long time, but embrace the CRM. Eleni, my file history. When did I?
Yeah.
5 years ago, I think.
Yeah, 5-6 years ago. Yeah,
6 years ago is when I started using Wise Agent, and built the business to the point where I still am out there. I am a hands-on type of a person. Do not have transaction coordinators. Have a team that is coming on board, so I am looking forward to using the Wise Agent team features that I don't utilize. And we talked about this before we went live, where I don't necessarily use all of the things, but actually through the weekly webinars, I sign up for, I think, for every single one of them. But in context, in the last 2 years, GCI just a whisker over 40 million and 141 families served. So
nice.
Congratulations.
That's
who I am and where I am.
Yeah, you're definitely a power user of ours. You definitely are, and I see your name on every webinar that I host, and I'm always appreciative of you and all of you that are joining. A couple of housekeeping tips here, just as a reminder. This is being recorded. We are live on Facebook, so it'll live forever and ever on Facebook. And then after this recording, you will have a recorded copy of this in your inbox if you've registered for this. If you are watching this on YouTube or on Facebook as the replay, feel free to post any questions on there afterwards, because we're always jumping in and answering any questions. So and if you're watching live on Facebook right now, go ahead and ask any questions. And if you want the replay in your inbox as well, send us an email and we'll get that over to you, or just post that you want the replay and we'll connect with you to get your email. Okay. So there's another friend of mine, Ed is on. Hey, Ed, I know we're going to be talking next week too. So that's exciting. I love getting to meet a lot of you from even the webinar series is very exciting. That's how, and Greg, we met. We didn't necessarily meet through the webinar, even though you've been watching the webinar and being an active participant in this. You and I met in November in San Diego at National Association of Realtors Expo, right?
Well, that's when you remember meeting me. But I did see you at the booth in San Francisco. And I also saw you at the booth in Boston when I went to my first NAR convention.
Okay. So yeah, I have a fuzzy memory for sure. So
you meet a lot of people.
I do.
And isn't that why we have CRMs? Because as agents,
exactly.
I can't remember all my prospects' names.
That's exactly why we have a CRM. And that's why that picture is so important in your CRM, right? Is getting that picture. I know Brandon, our CEO, he is so good at getting everyone's picture in a Wise Agent, even if they don't enhance through our lead enhancement feature where that comes in through social media. He'll go out and find a picture and get it in his Wise Agent account. So then so then he just can recall from that. So I got to be more like that. I got to get better at that. But yes, we have met before, and we chatted in San Diego just this past November. We were standing at the booth, and you came up to me and Brandon and said how you had just received an interesting text message. And before we get into that, let me just introduce our topic of the day. Because what we're going to be talking about is automating your lead follow-up and conversion with artificial intelligence. And so one of the features that Greg is leveraging from Wise Agent is our AI bot. And if for those of you that are on the webinar not all that familiar, the AI bot is a feature that you could be using today in two different ways. So one, you can be using it automatically. So anytime a new lead coming in from any of the portals or your website, any online leads that you're getting into Wise Agent, it can be automatically added to the AI bot. Or if you have a group of contacts that that were leads that you never really nurtured or contacted, you could start them on the AI bot as well. So it'll go out and nurture the contacts, and we're going to be talking about what you're doing specifically, Greg, and how you've been successful in this whole feature. One other thing to mention is that we have the fabulous Sarah Webb, our marketing manager, on this webinar. So any questions that you have, and I'm sure you guys are going to have a ton of questions for Greg and myself, you can ask those in the chat here, or you could ask them in the Q&A section. So feel free to be doing that as well. All right.
Yeah, we'll definitely try to answer as many questions. At the tail end, we'll go through our material first, and hopefully have everyone's questions answered.
Yeah, so one of the things that I wanted to do was share my screen and talk a little bit. And before I share my screen, maybe Greg, you can tell us a little bit about where you were getting leads from, how many leads you were getting, and how you were leveraging this AI bot.
Well, from a incoming lead standpoint, my top two sources are realtor.com, not so much Zillow anymore, but I used to have a good amount of Zillow. I am one of Ramsey Trusted, Dave Ramsey's ELPs serving the area. And I'll speak to, there's a difference between that type of source where it could be a buyer or a seller lead. You have to do something a little bit different with your bot setup when you don't know whether it's the buyer or the seller. And we also have, Referral Exchange, Upnest, Yelp. Some of them I manually connect to the bot. And so the interesting thing, in order to do 141 transactions alone without a TC, you can imagine I'm good at technology. That's the only way. Technology is my assistant. And so when you introduced the bot last year, I bet you within a month or so, I tried it. And I know when I tried it because I looked up some numbers, which you can see in the CRM. By default, it only shows the 30-day time window, but you can go back in time and then hit click, and then it gives you the results. Right. I actually sent out 4,604 messages through the bot, and that was engagement was pushed over 500 leads, and that 500 leads really went back to early 2021. Right. It did not cover, I didn't go back any further than that. I was playing around with it at first, and I had to learn the nuances of what we're going to share. We're going to make it so that you can get up to speed quicker
Yeah.
than I did. So,
Yeah, so what you're saying is that you had, and I'm going to go into my test account here, my demo account, and basically you had a bunch of contacts in here from earlier on in the in 2021, because you started using the bot back in August, right? After
yes.
it launched it.
Yeah.
So what you could do is go through here and say, when did I, the date added to Wise Agent, and you went through and you said to a specific date, and then you selected those people and said, go ahead and add these to the bot, right? Let me see if I can.
Well, what was interesting was, and I've been working on categorization because you're not going to necessarily stick the bot on, a sold client.
Right.
So you have to set up multiple filters to get the correct ones. And especially if you just are starting with Wise Agent, you're going to be importing a CSV file,
Right.
from, or, taking your Excel spreadsheet, bringing it in, and you've got some classification work to do first, because you don't want to stick the bot on everybody, your whole sphere of influence. My attorney doesn't need to have the bot contacting them.
Yeah, definitely. So definitely having the category, and yes, you want to make sure that you're sending the bot out to the right audience. I mean, that would really fall flat if you're sending it to your attorney that is not looking to move or whatnot, and that would be awkward, right? So it wouldn't resonate, and then it would just make you look like you don't know what you're doing, basically.
Right.
So having your categories, so this is where these additional filters really do come into play. So you can come in here and say, anyone that's a prospect and anyone that's coming in from, I'll just use a website. So anyone that's coming in from, my wiseagent.com email, domain. And so I can say this is the source that they came in from, so that would be for me because that's the company I work for. It could be from, my open houses. So maybe I had some people that came in through an open house and I know they were buying. So I can, and I want to say from a particular date range or whatnot, whatever it is that I want to see. And then I can take those contacts and even then just be selective of who I, want to put out there and say, okay, I want to put these 3 people on here and I want to add them to the bot, and I can do just that.
Yeah, and the one thing I found was, I stuck with pretty much most of the standard categories, but I customized my category list. You recommend that, and there's some good webinars that show us how to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's some categories that, and I'm a big believer on, having people on multiple categories. So, like you meet people that would be where you meet somebody, that would be your source, and how you would talk to them or how you know them, or what their, whatever their situation is, that's what their category would be. And they could be in multiple categories. So maybe I have a buyer that is also part of my gardening club. Every time I'm on this webinar, we always talk about how I like to be a gardener. I'm not a very good one, but we talk about that, right? So I met them at the gardening club. They're also a buyer, and maybe, their kid goes to school with my kid. And so I'm, they're the soccer mom as well. So, or a swim mom, right?
You're putting tags or labels in there utilizing the category tool.
Right.
For me as an agent, the key ones that I utilize is buyer lead, buyer client active, and then buyer sold. Same thing with seller lead, seller client, seller sold. And the ranking is a whole different thing. But yeah, that's how I categorize.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. I would also probably use the status, where it would be, are they inactive, or did I already close that deal? Are they active? Or maybe they're a future opportunity. So I would use that, because I think there's power in having, what their statuses are, as well as the ranking system, and saying, this is where maybe, this is where they're at. So I want to see all my active, and then I can see that this is a buyer.
Right.
And the seller, I don't know, in this situation, right? So now I can use the categories and the status in conjunction with one another, as well as other things. And ranking would be another. So we run the whole gamut of figuring out who it is that you're looking for specifically. So I can come in here and say, maybe I'm not going to use this date added one, because that might be a little too intense for this.
You're not sharing anymore.
Oh, I'm not sure. Oh, it looks like I'm sharing. I'm not sharing.
Let me see.
Oh. Let's see. Am I sharing now?
I'm only seeing you and I.
Let me see. Sarah, can you? Okay, Sarah says that she can see the screen. Okay.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay. Perfect. I was like, ooh, what's going on with my Zoom? But yeah, so for this demo account, because it is a demo account, I don't have all of those things where I could really drill down. I mean, I think I have like a VIP and active, but there might only be one person in that. So you could come in here. Oh, two. I got Tony Robbins and Eliza Doolittle. So there you go. So you can drill it down as much as you can, as long as the data is there and you have that set, then you can come in here. So maybe I want, to find sellers. So that would be something that I can look for. So what you want to do most definitely is use this tool here, managing of categories. In this demo account, there's like an extreme amount of categories. I think this could definitely, obviously, this would not be very realistic for a realtor. I think it could be a lot more simpler, and using other filters from within Wise Agent, like the status, like the rank, and the date range was also a really powerful one, like you mentioned, Greg. So that would be something. And then the way that you would, you would select your contact, and then you would add them to the AI bot from here. If you want to do it on a one-on-one basis, is that there is a spot right in here on the contact record that you would just click on this button, and that would start the bot. So that would start the bot, and the bot works with a texting number. So you do have to upgrade your Wise Agent account. If you're not using our texting feature, you will have to enable that. And there is a small additional cost to that, as there is a fee as well for the AI bot. And then it is driven through text. So it will be this phone number that will be getting the text messages from this client. So we will be texting, like Michael Phelps's number. It's not actually his number, but that would be the number that would be getting the text. Okay. So once you enable that feature, that's when that's kind of like that step one. And then the second step would be setting up your lead rules. So once you have that all set up, now any of your sources, so if it's coming in from your website, coming in from one of the internet portals, wherever it is that your lead is coming from, then that's when you would go in and set up your rules to enable the AI bot to start having that conversation and qualifying. That's what the AI bot does. It will help qualify that lead instead of it just going with an email response. There will be, you want to have that text message, and then you can say, well, it came in through this landing page of mine where I know specifically they are a buyer, or I know specifically they are sellers.
Yeah,
so do you want to
right there, that screen that you have up, and I'm sorry, I realized somehow I broke the screen share off of mine, but see how it says buyer, seller, renter, and then the home loan. So you've got those categories, and for example, if you have a lead source that's sending you potentially buyer and seller leads, you would not want to have the rules set up for it to fire automatically. That's where I will not let it fire automatically. I'll turn the bot on manually after I eyeball the lead to see what is, what is the context? Is it a sale or is it a buy?
Yeah, most definitely. And that is, and that can be done per source. So let's say,
Yes.
from Zillow or whatever portal, that those are going to be buyer leads, then you can say for that specific source, I'm going to make sure that this is turned on, the AI bot is turned on. And for
Yeah.
maybe a different, a different source, I wouldn't have that set up. For maybe my open house, right? So if I have an open house that I'm hosting, I'm probably not going to turn the AI bot on. I would probably I would have them on a drip campaign. I would add them to a category, most definitely, and add them to my call list to follow up with them. And, possibly even have an email response on, I'm going to shut these off. On the text response for an open house specifically, I do love having the text response on automatically for certain features of a house, of a property. So if someone is selling a property and there's I'm from Chicago, we have basements in Chicago. Here in Arizona, there's no basements, we have pools. So depending on where you're at geographically, or whatever the property is, something that you could text is, and you could say hi, first name, and that would fill in the blank of the first name of the person that registered for your open house. And you can say, go ahead and look at the feature, this feature in the backyard, or this feature downstairs or upstairs or whatever. So I like the text response for open houses in that respect.
I'll extend that idea from a standpoint of everybody now knows QR codes. I used to use on my signs and then I stopped using them because I could track it and nobody was using them. Well, guess what? Now everybody knows QR codes. They just take their camera, point it at the screen. It can be touchless sign in for the open house to your landing page.
Right.
And then the value add can be that you can, email or message them a link to be able to download the full MLS listing and seller's disclosures.
Yep.
Yeah,
so you can send them. So let me see if I have a flyer in here. I thought I did. So here's a flyer. So I can just send them this flyer. And this would go out as a text message, before they walk in. And if I want to make sure that everyone is registering, then I can even notify myself for every time somebody walks in, I get a text message. So if I see somebody walking in and I didn't get a text, I would know that they didn't register.
Right.
That's the other bonus on that one.
Well, and we should have, I think, in chat the link to the PDF. I think I have a 4-page PDF for today's webinar. And one of the things that I know a lot of people are that are not using the bot, they want to know, okay, the bot is an ability for us, is a feature, an integration right here in Wise Agent. So, what's involved. And I did take a screen capture of that integration section and pulled that together with the, with the Wise text and the AI bot. You have to do those 2 steps first. It won't work without that.
Yeah.
And, from a money perspective, let's talk about that. It's not, to me, I don't think it's expensive. Okay. If you look at cost per lead, I'm buying volume. When I buy, it seems like there's both categories of the texting and the bot are $200, right? Is that the max?
Oh, you mean for the amount of credits? Yes.
Yes. So when I first did it, I think I did the lowest end thing, in the integrations. If you could, just pull up the texting. I think I did Wise text. I got my local number, and this is a screen capture, so you don't have to remember all this right there. I think I bought the first time I ever did texting through there after I got a local number was the $20 I spent, and I had 1,850 texts. And then the bot is a different cost. The AI bot under 2B of my flyer that we created for you. The bot, at the first time I did it, was 10 credits. What's a credit? 1 year of dialogue.
Right.
So you're having a year of conversation with the lead, and so after I did it and ran out of credits, I said, okay, this is really starting to be, I like these conversations. And I at first didn't know how to interact with it. So we're going to get into that. How do you interact with the bot? Because we have to take over at some point. And right there, yeah, this is the handout. So the bot cost is $1.33 per lead, not text.
Right, it's
text
per lead,
additional.
and that lead will be nurtured for 1 full year for 12 months.
Right. And so when you think about that, to me, to spend $1.34, the texting is 1 cent each. So, $1.50 or $2 a lead more on a dead lead, no brainer.
Yeah.
But I mean, I went backwards in time for some old stuff, but the new stuff, I have a screen capture. If you scroll down or up, whichever way you want to talk about it. This is a conversation that just happened last night. And the way that the bot is structured, that it's in text and it goes, the newest conversations at the top. So at the very bottom right there, last night, what's it say, 10:30?
9:30, yeah.
So 10:30, a lead came in. And at 10:30, I was offline. And it triggered through auto reply because of a rule set up in realtor.com. It then fired an auto reply and it said, I'm offline. My bot, I named it Erica. That's my daughter who should be in the business soon. I said, you can fill Erica in, she'll take a little bit more information from you. And look at this whole conversation that they had. The rule it turned on the bot. We just talked about that. And then all of those little arrows that you see in the center. And if you print out the handout, you can see it better. And again, that link to the handouts in chat, but that little arrow right there is a buyer's response. So this whole conversation happened. And then this morning, I turned the bot off because I went and had all this information about the buyer. I mean, I knew in the next, if you scroll up a little bit higher, you'll see the red box right there. Key question. What's that question say, Eleni?
Yeah, so the bot asked, are you already committed to an agent?
Nope, was the answer.
Yeah.
Green lights for us.
Yeah.
We're not going to step on. And some people might wonder, what does the bot say if it says yes? The bot's response is essentially, we don't want to step on anybody's toes. If something changes, let us know. And backs off. And I turned the bot off after I interjected into the conversation. On your mobile app, when you're looking at it on your mobile app, you'll see your face versus nothing, and you'll see that you interjected. They don't know that you interjected, but I let them know that Greg emailed you and then he texted you. And notice I'm using the word third party, and we'll talk about that in the handout. We talk about what are the best practices. Talking in third party, when you go into your bot and you get involved in that conversation, I was able to say, Greg emailed you, and he also texted you off of that. I give him the number. That's his personal line. You're in good hands with Greg. He'll take over from this point. And I actually go and give them a link to some success stories on Rate My Agent. And that's I think very powerful. I could never have had 6,904 text messages with people. And I'm not one that's going to sit there, and that's since August. I didn't have to lift a finger to have those conversations. All I have to lift a finger to is turn it off and take over, jump in the driver's seat.
Yes. That's the beauty of it all, is that you don't have to do this. You are a little bit more hands-on with it, because you can see the conversation. And this is the nice thing, is the conversation is all being done interactively. You could see during the whole entire process from the contact record. So is this Michael Phelps? So you could see in here internally, either from the desktop page or from your mobile device, you could see the conversation happening in real time. So then you can make that decision like, okay, do I want to go in there and, interject and say something because this is a good time for me to say something, or do I just want to let the bot just do its thing? So Greg kind of jumps in there every now and then, but you can just let it be, you could just let it go for whatever time that you want it to go. And it doesn't matter what area you say, so you don't need to say like this one says ideally I'd like to stay in Fountain Hills or North Scottsdale area. I didn't have to say a state, because this is something, it's not going out to an IDX or anything, this is just going to you. So you as the agent, and you'll be able to see this and know that this is your area, right? And so that you can stop it manually and say, okay, well now, and even if you don't stop it manually, once the bot has qualified the lead, the person that has, the consumer, that person that's reached out, then you will get the notification, the text saying, hey, I'm ready to, now you can, the bot will tell you this person is ready for a handoff for you to go ahead and respond to them personally.
And that's what happened when I was in San Diego. Mm-hmm. My phone was in my pocket. I was telling you about a conversation and my phone rang. Here it is. And I showed you and Brandon. I said, here's the conversation. Now I'm going to jump in. And I have turned the bot off. And then if I don't have that engagement back, I have turned the bot back on. The bot will pick up right where it left off. Now, is it 100%? Are the conversations 100% fluid? Not necessarily. There may be a double question that I might interject, and then, but for the most part, most agents are busy. We're not sitting there. I don't sit behind my computer and let my bot have a conversation and watch that conversation. I'm running with buyers, running with my sellers, volunteering at my local association, or being a husband or a dad, and I jump into the bot and we talk about this a little bit near the end. The bot is just a tool in our toolbox, and the answer, some of the questions, common questions, okay, what agency do you work for? The bot's answer, I got the answer. It's, I work for several agencies. Okay, and sometimes a person will be annoyed or rude or rejecting the inquiry. The bot has no feelings. I have feelings, and I'd rather let the bot take the punches. And if a person's really annoyed, and then guess what? Number one, it didn't respond and say that it was my bot. It said the name Erica. It didn't say, the agency. It worked for several agencies, and good, we can terminate that person. I delete the person. I get a lot of satisfaction out of deleting a person that doesn't want to be helped. The other thing that I see is that, are you the listing agent? That's a question. We are in Connecticut. Connecticut has a buyer's agency rule where you cannot show another agent's listing without a written buyer's representation agreement in place before you step over the threshold of that other agent's listing. So with that, sometimes people from the outside of the area, they're asking that question because they just used to going to the listing agent. Well, if they ask that, I can't step on their code of ethics rule. So it asks that question, it ferrets it out, or how did you get my number? I got that on some of the older ones. When I went back 6-8 months, how did you get my number?
From your so you set up the AI bot on some of your contacts that you had from months ago.
Dead leads. And I probably pushed it out probably, to leads that were, let's say, 8 months old. I did that, and I think in December. Well, I got a handful of people that are now finally ready to do something. We have low inventory nationwide. If they didn't get anything, I got a few, but then there were a few people that were a little bit annoyed, and they said, well, how did you get my number? Some of them I just, got rid of. But some of them I gave them the answer. You inquired on realtor.com about this property on this date. But if you're all set, no problem. I believe in being courteous and helpful is a better way of putting it.
Right. Nice. And so in your time, so you've had the bot reach out to about 600 potential clients or leads, right?
Yep.
Since August of last year, right? And
Yep.
you have, because these are all in the handout, so it's not like I'm just for everybody else to know. I'm not giving out Greg's personal information out on here, but you've had one active listing. You have one active listing from this.
One listing that's running right now, and it was a very similar conversation, like the one that I screen captured from this morning. Very, very great exchange that the bot had. And then I took over, turned off the bot, and it's an active listing now that, 90% chance that a buyer's agent in my market will sell it.
Yeah.
And and then one that's closing next week, that's a buyer. And our price point, our average home, single family, is about $300,000 here. And actually, I then got a call about an hour and a half ago from an agent that said, oh, by the way, Greg, my broker is sending you not just the referral fee for the rental. I don't handle rentals. And we do get a good percentage of people that are looking at homes asking for them to be rentals. I would encourage you, this story is going to motivate you to be courteous to those folks, help them, refer them to an agent that does do rentals. I'm getting a check for $2,000 or a little over $2,000. That'll buy a lot of bot credits.
Nice. So, because you did the rental referral. And well, what happened was that rental turned into a sale.
Oh, okay. So the agent that I referred to, she said, Greg, yeah, guess what? That check's going to be a lot bigger, because she ended up wanting to list the property. That's fine. No problem.
Nice. And we have a question here from Johanna. She's asking, is there a way to set up the bot for different languages? And actually there is. So if, so the bot will automatically go out in English. If their response is, back in Spanish, then the bot will respond in Spanish. And I see Sarah is also typing at the same time that I'm speaking. So, so that is how that works. It is right now in Spanish. It will change to that language. And so that is nice. And it does also, it does not do it for any language, but that is something that we're looking to implement more. And I think there was also a question earlier if this was also used for home inspections. So that currently doesn't do it, but that would be something that we could look into. I know there is a lot that goes into creating these conversations, and there's some learning that has to happen from the bot side. So there's kind of some statements that we need to do it as well. So that is something that we're looking into doing.
Well, what's also funny about it, aren't you from Chicago?
I am.
You are. So the sayings in Chicago are different than, let's say, someone in the deep South.
Right. Yeah, we don't say y'all in Chicago.
No. And in here, someone asked me the other day, "Are you from Maine?" Because I said a word that I can't even remember what the word was, but I'm like, "No, I'm from Connecticut." So language, there's one word that it uses. You and I talked about it. I said, is there any way I can get that one word edited out?
Right, you did. I do have a note on that. So, and it is kind of that does drill it down to that granular level. That could be then take the cost in a different direction. So, but we're trying to keep it as cost effective and open as possible. So and there's another question about what is the method that the bot hands off to the agent. That is all done through texting. So it will be a text message that you get that says, this contact is now ready for a conversation. And then you just can, and then the bot is stopped at that point automatically. And then you go in and can then either text it back, because the number that it's texting from is from the texting number through Wise Agent. So
Correct.
you can text from there saying, hey, this is, you can still continue the conversation like you are the bot, like Greg does, and saying, okay, well, so now this is coming from Erica saying, Greg will be, my associate Greg will be reaching out to you. And that's actually, Greg typing that out.
Exactly.
And then he picks up his cell phone and then texts back from his cell phone.
Yeah. And I'm trying to find, it's buried in your text, but what's great about the connection is it will text me, and when I click on the link on mobile, it fires the Wise Agent mobile app, and it goes right in there, and I can swipe up and I can see the exact conversation. And then I can interject and say, I'm going to have Greg call you off his personal line. Yeah. Or Greg just emailed you that information about an hour ago. Check your spam or promotions folder.
Right.
So
yeah,
it works well.
It does work really well. And that, I want to make sure that everyone's clear on this. This is not, the bot doesn't go out and actually sell the house for you, right? It won't do that. You still have a job as a realtor to do. There's still some work that you have to do. And so what the bot does is it qualifies, and it will strike up the conversation to get the information out from them, like, where are you looking? What's your budget? What's your time frame? Are you working with an agent? Get those qualifying questions answered for you, so then you could jump in and then do your job, right?
Well, I'm going to add to that. I'm going to take it one step further, and I'm going to say everybody's heard the term speed to lead. And if you're busy, okay, if you're picking up the kids at school or something, or out running leads or at a listing appointment, the beauty in this is the bot is giving you speed to lead to compete with, OpCity or whoever else wants to call within the first, 45 seconds. Your bot, through rule, in Wise Agent, can go and establish that connection. And my rule is set up so that it is firing a video, my face, and I'm, whether you want to use BombBomb or Dub, they're both integrated into Wise Agent. I have a video that goes in its third, it cannot be more than 40 seconds on the text, but it's loaded, it's right there. They see it and it's animated. It's killer because of the fact that you got speed to lead now. And then you can craft your conversation so that it says that you're going to be getting back to them as fast as possible, ASAP. The other thing is think of the bot as this: it's a first responder. Okay. What I mean by that is it's going to get to the accident scene, or it's going to get to the person that's reaching out to you. Or, a lot of people don't know how Zillow and Realtor work. They click a button, they want information. Well, if the person's a renter, think of my business. I'll help them. I will respond. I have an email that sends and a text that I send to renters. And I've had renters go and say, thank you. You're the first agent that ever took the time to really respond to me. You didn't blow me off. Right. So it's very powerful, I think.
Yeah, definitely, most definitely. And it uses texting. So it's leveraging our texting capabilities, which will, has a higher response rate than email. Email is not dead, but email's response rate is about roughly around 40%, where texting is closer to like a 90, between 90 and 98% response rate within the first 15 minutes. So that is a high response rate. And so that's what the AI bot is doing, is it's leveraging this. I mean, even if you look at the screenshots from Greg's lead that came in last night, I mean, that was happening at, let me go back to it. Was it happening at like 10:30 at night? Where, I mean, if you're, if you want your sleep, this is a nice option for you as well, because, having it go to just a drip campaign, which is fine. The drip campaign just does that. It'll go out, that one time, and then a day or two, 3 later, will go out again. But this is happening in real time. So this is the time that they're doing it.
Right.
And this person, they were driving at 10:15 at night, so yeah, this is the time that they're available.
And think of the second or third shift worker.
Right.
We're 24-hour society now. And so it allows that conversation to happen.
And allows you to sleep.
Correct.
Right. Or have your family time, or, whatever it is, it still allows you to have your personal time. I know a lot of agents sometimes think of this as, and I'm guilty of this too, sometimes we think that we're 24/7. Wise Agent support is 24/7, absolutely. But I'm not 24/7. Greg, you're not. And anyone that's watching this right now, we're not all 24/7 as people. Because even our team, they rotate. We don't have one person that's just 24/7. That would be against.
Yeah, but wait a second. Wise Agent has a phenomenal support system in terms of, I've called. I like to chat a lot, but you utilize the chat function, but you guys call and you guys answer, you get the answers out there weekends and nights when we have the problems. Right.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we do have somebody on call 24/7, but it's not the same person. That would violate every labor law out there. But as realtors, you're not 24/7, Greg, right? I mean, you like to sleep, you like to have some family time, right? So that's what the bot does, give you that ability to have that time with your family, to go out on a date, to go see a movie, to, watch your kids, swim or do their soccer thing or whatever it is. The AI bot gives you that flexibility to continue running your business, continue nurturing your clients or potential clients while you're still living a life. And that's what the bot is there for, at a very effective and reasonable cost.
Was it $1.34?
Yeah. So I think there was a question early on with that range. So Greg is buying it at the highest level at that $200 mark, and that's where those credits equal out to $1.30 something. Where if you're buying it at the smallest level, it's $1.50. So between $1.50 and $1.33, I mean, it still is really a no-brainer on getting this set up, when the average cost of a lead per NAR statistics is between $50 and $250 a lead. So if you're,
it's more than that. It's more than that.
The cost of a lead.
Well, here I'll give you a perfect example. A company that has a program called Flex, it's 35% of the commission.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah, and that's, I mean,
and referrals, they're up there. You're talking 20 to 35% on referrals. So to spend $1 something, not expensive. One thing I'd love to have you show, can you pull up the home section of screen share? You've got better buyers and sellers. I mean, you've got some celebrities in there. So yeah, can you go to home? And this is a term I'm going to just call it raking. All right. and it's the best practice that I've come up with so far. If you go to the rules,
Okay.
what's great is you can move these tiles around.
Yeah, like I see this one, I'm like, oh, this one's usually down here below.
Yeah, yeah, I move it down. But the regular rules section, I'm sorry, it was not under home. I'm sorry, it was on, isn't it under?
Are you talking about the lead rules?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the lead rules.
It's under clients, right?
Yeah.
Or
It's under contacts and then lead
contacts.
rules.
Thank you.
Yes.
Lead rules. All right. So lead rules, wait a second.
What is it that you're looking to?
I'm looking for the table where it showed the quantity of text, and then you can click into it. Hang on, let me pop mine open.
The quantity of how many text messages you've sent, like your report?
Yeah, reporting. I'm sorry, reports. Thank
okay.
you. Reports, not rules. It had an R in there.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for, to decipher what you're trying to say.
Yeah. So under home, there you go. And so it's the beginning of the month, so you don't have a whole heck of a lead. Actually, if you changed it, yeah, change it to, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. This is a test account. We don't send that many text messages from here, but
what's key here is, and I scroll right to the bottom because it defaults to 50. And I'm just going to tell you a nice little thing, right? Change it to 500. What I like about this is it's going backwards in time, and you're really not using the bot. And if you scroll down, what's interesting is that there's a few tests that are in there. You see the numbers off to the left in 41 to 450. That's more of what it looks like. And then you see, when you click on a person's name, what I do, I call it raking. I'll go backwards at 500 per page just to make sure I'm current. It's almost like in Twitter, you see that you're current, or Instagram, you're current, or Facebook. Once you've gotten through your feed to the last time, you'll recognize that name. But when you click on that person under right there, you click on their name. What I love about Wise Agent is when you click on something like that, it opens up a new tab. And now, boom, I'm right there. And I slide down on the left-hand side, I do have texts as clicked off right there. And I do have that set make default.
Yeah.
By doing that, I then can go back to those messages, and that's the trigger a lot of times for me to interject, to turn off the bot and put on my big boy pants and make that phone call. Okay, or give them, that value add. I can interject because the person has shown that they're worthy because they've engaged my bot, and so that's that right there is, under in the handout, best practices 5C, the daily raking. I do recommend looking at that, because you're not going to get every single response sent to you through text. Otherwise, your phone.
Yeah, that, because it will inundate you. I mean, you can see here, even on this one. So it was, there's a lot of conversation happening here within, minutes apart. So that would be a lot of text messages that you get, and it would just clutter up your phone. So what the bot does is that stays silent on your phone, so you won't get notified of all these replies of, like thanks and tomorrow and no and whatever. So you don't have to see all of that. What you would see is kind of like right after this is once Mia is saying here, and our bot's name is Mia, I'll have the team double check the status of the listing and follow up with you shortly. Then Mia will be texting me saying, okay, this, Jeremiah is ready to have a conversation with you. And then, Jay replies back saying, thanks, Mia. And so then the bot is then stopped at that time.
Right. Well, also if a person's, says stop, or wants to cut off the conversation, they do. And then you can go in and change the status, of the contact up top. And,
you could just say it's a disqualified lead or a bad lead.
Yep.
And then you can just, and, you know, and then you move on. The
Yep.
nice thing about this is it does qualify those leads. So the leads are, you're not wasting your time. That's the other part of the value is that you're getting is you are not wasting your time reaching out to somebody that probably doesn't want to talk to you. And
Right.
so again, going back to what you said is that the hurt feelings, you don't have your feelings aren't hurt, or
No.
worse off is you're not paying someone a salary to make these phone calls and qualify those leads. You'll need personnel. If you're getting 500-600 leads, you know, a quarter, that is, you know, a lot of leads that you need to have somebody, you actually need another personnel. You need to hire somebody to help you qualify those leads.
Right.
So that's one of the other benefits of this is that the leads that you're getting in, the people that are inquiring, then you're having the system, the bot talk to them. You don't need to hire somebody else on, you don't need additional resources for that.
And you know what, if I ever hear the term, you know, hot transfer, you know, these lead sources that want to give me that hot transfer where they've got someone on the other end of the phone that just wants to start to talk right that second. What are the odds of me doing nothing? Right. Being ready. Me being ready is in front of my computer, being able to give really good information. So the other thing is occasionally in the last point and my point, and I think we should just look at some questions and answers. Occasionally there will be a phone call. The person will dial the number. And then I had that question for Brandon, I think in San Diego, and that, you know, he said, it doesn't respond. It does respond saying that it is a messaging only line, not equipped to take calls, is what I remember, because I tested it. And but it notifies you through text that someone just tried to call you, and you might want to reach out to that person. So I think that's a nice feature. Yeah, that does. That is a nice feature that it has that available to you. So there was a couple of a question here. Can I do a mass text to a group from the database from Wise Agent? Absolutely. And so let me go back here. Let me find my contact list. So you would just go to your contact list. And while you're looking for that, hang on. I'm going to we've talked about this in terms of texting, and if you're doing hundreds, the problem's going to be how many conversations can you have at once? You might want to do, you know, and I'm just speaking from experience. I did do, I think I did a couple hundred, and it was all of a sudden, boom, there's all these conversations. So yeah. You do want to be mindful of that. So when you do bulk texting, let me just reiterate what Greg just said. If you are going to be sending out 200-300 text messages at one time, at one sitting, be aware that you may get a lot of responses. You might get 50% of the people that respond to you. I mean, the response rate is about 80%. 80% or higher would respond within the first 15 minutes. So be prepared. If you're sending out 100 messages, you might get 80 responses. Can you handle 80 responses in 15 minutes without then blowing people off and ignoring them? And then what was the purpose of you sending out that bulk text message in the first place? So right. What we've done is when you do want to send a text message, we recommend that you send it, you set up your clients per page to 250 because that is the max that you could send out at one time through Wise Agent. So then I can come in here and select all 250 people and say, send a text message. And this will tell me who it has an actual phone number that can be texted. So how many credits basically I'm going to be using. And then I can come in here and type out my message, one message for all of these people. So I can say hi, first name, and when Greg gets this, it would say hi, Greg, and then you personalize your message here. You could attach your video or an image, and then this is my favorite part, and I always tell everybody, make sure you test this, especially if you're using a video or an image.
make sure you're sending the right video, especially if you're doing it from your mobile and you've recorded 5 videos and then you're like, oh, I really like the 4th one, but you inadvertently selected the 3rd one, which was a blooper reel, and you don't want that to go out to everybody. So make sure you send the test to yourself. This doesn't cost you any credits. So then what you do is then you would send yourself the test, and then once you verify that that's the right thing, go ahead and send this out. And then if you wanted to send more than 250, then you would just go to the second page, wait for that page to load, and then go ahead and send that out to the next group of 250. But again, if you're sending out 500 text messages, or even 250, make sure that you have the right amount of time allotted for yourself to respond back to everybody, because that would be really a detriment to you and your business if you're not able to respond to them.
Well, the other thing about this is, and at some point last year, if you take that, the light bulb went on, and I think it was when you had Kendall from California, and excuse me for not remembering her last name.
Oh, Kendall Young. Yes, Kendall Young.
Kendall Young. Okay. Kendall, she made a point to say that one of the things that we as agents need to do is to provide, that exceptional experience that our clients have is a net result of a lot of little things we do along the way. And with Wise Agent, the rules, and that's when I migrated into the task lists and building those tasks, the task lists to all those little things that we do are now tasks. And I built those out for buyers, sellers, and categories, homes or condos, because you have different disclosures and everything and steps involved with the HOA rules and everything. So when you take the step and then you integrate, you start to mesh these different tools that Wise Agent has, it makes sure that the client has that exceptional experience. I'm going to keep buying bulk credits.
There you go, Greg. Well, thanks for your support, Greg. And we've run out of time. Sarah, thanks for posting our support. For anyone out there that's looking for more information on how to use our bot or any of our other features, feel free to reach out to our support staff. Sarah has posted our email, which is help@wiseagent.com, or our phone number in there as well. If you have any questions during the replay of any of this, feel free to post them. We will get back to you. We will be monitoring that as well. And if you want the recording, please tag us and we will get that to you as well. Next week, I'm going to be joined by Ed Birmingham, one of our friends that I've never met in person, that I met through the webinar series. So I'm excited to have Ed on. We're going to be talking about checklists and property flyers. Greg, thank you so much for being on today.
Welcome.
Thank you. It was so great meeting you in person. I love meeting you all in person. And I don't even know where I'm going next. I don't know where I'll be, but I know it'll be listed on our events page, and maybe someone can fill me in on where I'll be traveling to in the next few. I think I'm traveling in a couple of weeks. I'll be out on the road again, but I'm looking forward to seeing you all out there. Stop by if you know that I'm going to be somewhere. Stop by and say hello. We'll take a picture, talk about what you guys are doing in your Wise Agent account. I'm always happy to have those conversations. So thanks so much, Greg.
Support is great. The support, the videos by topic, being able to search, it helps at night and weekends.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Greg, for that. And thanks for everyone for watching. I will see you back here next week, Wednesday at 10 a.m. Arizona time. I'm looking forward to that conversation with my dear friend, Ed. Thanks so much, everyone. Thanks, Greg. Take care. Bye-bye.